Welcome to Adventures in Reach. Today I'm talking about pooping in the woods, and this is actually by request for this video. And now these videos, there's a bunch of them on YouTube, and I think that several of them, they talk about most of it, but then they miss some of the pieces. So I'm going to try to cover all of it today and give you a full understanding of all your options. So first, you hear some people talking about the things that you have to wipe with. Some people talk about sticks or rocks or even pine cones. You'll hear, you know, the harsh way or the soft way. I don't know about you, but I do not want to be wiping with these or snowballs or any of that. So really bring your toilet paper or find your natural toilet paper, which are leaves. And broadleaf aster is one of those that grows all over the place where I have lived, just not in the desert in Utah, but otherwise I see broadleaf aster everywhere. Let's show you what that is first. All right, so this is broadleaf aster. It's usually actually a lot bigger than this in many places, and on the back it's kind of this felty surface. It's really nice. So you can grab a bunch of these. It doesn't matter if you have this specific leaf, as long as you've got a nice big leaf. Obviously you can figure that out. All right, let's head over there. Please make sure that you are familiar with and you are not picking up poison sumac or poison oak or poison ivy and wiping with that. Just kidding, that's not poison ivy, but just know your plans ahead of time. So hopefully you've planned ahead and make sure you're conserving, that you're not one of these that's like wrapping and, you know, using all of this at the same time, because then you're quickly going to find yourself in this situation where you have one final sheet. And then what do? You're going to fold this in half. You're going to fold it in half again. You're going to pinch just the corner of the fold, so it's kind of the center of it. You're going to put that little thing aside. You're going to open this up, and now you have this handy protector so that you can wipe and then you can clean off, and then this is for under your fingernail. Just kidding. Please don't ever do that. Just joking. All right, so let's go from here. Now you have the stuff you needed to wipe with. You've collected that, and now it's time to find your spot. So to do that, we need to head out into the woods, and we're gonna head out about 200 feet. That's 70-75 steps. Just go a good distance into the woods and make sure that you're away from a campsite, from trails, from any sort of water, anything like that. Before we get too far, I'm just going to show you my poo kit. I have toilet paper, of course, and then the hand sanitizer. And before I go, I just take this out of the bag and set it out so I can sanitize before touching the bag again. And then this trowel that I actually put in my stake bag. All right, so now I'm going to talk about how to dig the hole, and then I'm going to back up and talk about where to, because that gives you some really creative things that you can do. So we'll come back to that. So how to dig it. If you want to use the heel to your boot, you can use stakes, you can use your hiking pole, you can use a stick, a rock, or a trowel. Now I've used several different trowels. This one is the Deuce. This is by the Tent Lab. And this is pretty sweet because it's very thin, has these little grooves here so that you can dig and cut through some roots. It does kind of suck on the hands a little bit, so I'll pull a sleeve down or wrap a bandana around it, and that works pretty well. So with this thing, you want to dig down into topsoil, and I often set the top aside to put that back on later to kind of camouflage a little bit. So you want to stay ideally into this nice dark topsoil. This stuff has all the bacteria in it that's going to break down your poo later on, and it's going to do that much quicker. And so that's generally within the top 6 or 8 inches. And so we want to get in deep enough, which with this trowel, it's roughly the depth of this trowel, so the full length of it, but just get down a good ways. Now there's no specific measurement on how big your hole needs to be width-wise, but you want to make sure you have enough so it's not coming out the top. You're able to have it down in there a little ways. What an odd topic, huh? Now imagine doing this when you really have to go. So ideally you're planning ahead, you feel the urge coming, and it's like, it's gonna be a couple hours before I'm in camp and, you know, at a privy or something. So just go a little bit sooner. I've certainly been in that situation many times where it's like a panic dig, not such a good scenario. So anyway, this is about 5-inch diameter. You know, we're the full shovel depth plus a little bit deep. You know, normally you go 1 and 2 at the same time. So think about maybe peeing first if you can. Otherwise, just be careful so that you're not getting anything on you. Again, it's site specific or environment specific. Are you able to leave your toilet paper here or not? Most places you can leave your toilet paper, bury it in the hole. Obviously, cover back up. Now make sure, do not ever let your shovel touch any of the poo. If there's something sticking out or whatever, please use a stick. Kind of pack this down. I like to put my little top covering back over. Okay, now, seems kind of contradictory to me as I'm saying this, but I try to make it kind of blending in, and at the same time, I generally take a couple sticks, make an X over these, or even take a bigger stick and just put it straight up in here. I hope that I can prevent somebody from digging this up in the future. I'm not sure that everybody's gonna know what this means or realize in the moment as they're frantically digging, but I don't know, I hope it prevents somebody from digging in the spot again. And hopefully you are going far enough off and in a place that's a little harder to get to so that nobody's gonna dig in the same spot ever.
Because that would be a crappy situation.
A couple other options I've seen people use if the ground is really hard is to find a root ball like this and go to the bathroom, you know, kind of down in the well, and then take some of this soil to cover it. The thing about this that isn't so great is that it's not very much organic soil because it's generally from deeper down, and often these root balls kind of gather water and stuff, so not a great place. It's an option if you're really strapped, better to bury than not to. The other thing that I've seen people do is to kind of flip over a bigger rock, go under there and dig a little more, get it buried into there, and then put that rock back over it. I am not actually so sure if that's something that you really want to do. It's probably going to depend on the soil that's underneath there. But again, just follow all the rules about getting away from camp. And sometimes you're in a hurry and you just can't finish your hole, so try to avoid that. But otherwise, you can just get your spot that you're going to be digging and then go to the bathroom just, you know, 6 inches away, and then finish digging, and now you kind of push it in there. Make sure you get the whole thing. If you're going on something like this where you have this nice duff or something that you can move all of that contaminated stuff into the hole, that's going to be the best situation versus going on something like this. Again, either way, never touch it with your shovel. All right, so we talked about how to dig, and if you're interested in this, the Deuce shovel, then I will put a link in the description. Like I said, this would be my most recommended. So now, where to dig, aside from being off the trail or away from water, where you go might be a bit of a creative moment. So you could have something like this where you have the tree thrown. So you've got 2 logs here where you can sit in between and you dig right below there. Or if you have like a wide branch or a forked branch, you can sit like this, which is even more comfortable. This is actually pretty nice right here. If you only have 1 log, you can kind of just sit on it and, you know, get your butt back over it. Again, you can try to even take a pine cone or rock, drop it down, see where it's going to land, just so that you're being accurate later on. Go this way. All right, so you can do a couple things with trees. You can grab the branch or the trunk or a branch, and you can do the leaner like this. You can also, for those climbers out there, you can do the heel hook. get creative with it. Realistically, I use squatting or sitting on a log or even doing the leaner, just kind of a modified squat the most. It seems to be the most comfortable, and honestly, the further down you get, the cleaner you seem to stay. So just keep that in mind as well. Another option is that, say you're at a remote campsite and there is no privy, outhouse, whatever, you can also take the option of digging a trench along a spot like this where you have a log. And so you dig a trench that might be 1.5 feet long, right? Let's say you have multiple people and you're going to be there a while. You dig that trench, you have your dirt sitting aside, and you go and then you put dirt on that section. The next person goes, they put dirt on that section, and you put all of your poo in one area, and then you just are going to clearly mark that later on, like with those sticks like I was talking about. That way, again, you're not digging multiple holes. You have to weigh the benefit of spreading it out all over the place versus one, and just see what seems right for that situation to have the least impact. And with that, know that it's always going to be better. I encourage you to use the outhouse, the privy, whatever, if you can wait to get there, if you can go before leaving camp, to really minimize your impact. There's some really gross places where there's a lot of toilet paper out there, or you see it, you know, these things dug up, and the more we can do to minimize that, then the better we're going to be. There's a lot of people in the woods, so let's please try to keep it clean out here. The other thing to consider is that if you need to pack out, again, to help minimize, what a lot of people do is they'll leave their poo and then pack out toilet paper, double bag it, whatever. You can also use a wag bag, which essentially is a bag with like some baking soda and things that kind of soaks up the moisture in it and keeps it from smelling. And you go in this bag and you wrap it up, it's double bagged, and then you just pack the whole package out with you. Some environments require that no matter what. So again, check the regulations before you go and see what's going to be the least impact. So if you've liked this, then please hit that like button. It's free for you and it helps the channel a bunch. And if you're interested in some more tips for outdoors, then you can check out one of these videos up here, because YouTube is going to recommend them, so I'm sure they're going to be awesome. And again, please consider subscribing, and we'll see you next time. There's always an adventure in your reach. All you have to do is find it.